If you want to play Guilty Gear Xrd in the current day, you need to do two things. Hit online, hit player lobbies. Congratulations. You're now a contrarian like me. Nobody is playing ranked, and I would argue that's a good thing. Not because the ranked mode is lackluster. I'll be honest, I found myself there so rarely that I don't know if the ranked mode is anything. But because ranked mode is a problem, a poison, a benign cyst on the right testicle of the humble gamer. Check your balls, gamers, I'm talking about my benign lump, not yours. For the benefits that ranked brings, like giving you a goal to work towards and player attention, I no longer feel the benefits outweigh the drawbacks for me personally, and that's coming from someone who for the longest time has been an advocate of ranked. I like the Xrd lobbies. I think they're a good yet flawed solution to a matchmaking problem. I'm gonna say it, I'm a little man, you're a little man, we're all little men with square heads. Is that not enough? I don't want this to be taken as a rejection of infrastructure, however. What could have been a part of the draw in Xrd's ranked is that it's an obscured form of matchmaking, which I am very much fond of. Being able to have the system put you against equally skilled players without having to put work in is a good thing. I'm not slating skill-based matchmaking to roleplay scrub quotes here, especially as the player base has fallen to triple-digit numbers. Wait, hold on a minute, it's always been triple digits. With a small pool of players, I think the more conventional ranked matchmaking system would have come with its own issues. Depending on how restrictive it would have been, you could have ended up playing exclusively against the same person, or waiting a huge amount of time to only end up playing against someone who is dramatically unrelated to your skill level. Xrd has always been a small-ish, kind of, let's not get into it, game, so letting players hop into a lobby of 8 people, go you, me, our square heads, let's get it, provides enough structure that you can wander into people frequently while also removing dependency on the matchmaking system to get games in the first place. I do wish you could customize your room like in BlazBlue, it's not a perfect system, but especially for a game of this size, I prefer it over a matchmaking system that is just a shitty formality, while also having a lot more personality than just menus. I don't understand why everyone was mad that the matchmaking in 2XKO wasn't just a menu. I really like the little guys. I mean, I prefer if I could be a littler guy. However, this is not why I am against ranked. My issue specifically comes with the visual manifestation of player skill, and how that affects my own personal mindset. You ever look at a match, come out of it and go, this guy's a fucking moron, he sucks, the game sucks, literally everything sucks. When you win, I've done that a lot. In Tekken 8 and Street Fighter 6 specifically. I want to be able to backdash my way out of pressure in Tekken 8, which you can rarely do, and I cannot stand the importance, length, and frequency of level 3 supers and 6, throw loops, the general feel of walking, having to keep a little mental spot checked for drive impact the entire time. I truly hate this game, and this does not even scratch the surface of my frustration. These are games that I do not like. They're not bad, they're just not for me, and I strongly suspect that there's a little contrarian inside of me that contributes to my dislike of them. And yet, I found myself booting up, heading into ranked, all because I'm enticed by the siren song of getting a new PNG next to my name. These modes, all being the main mode, undoubtedly work to keep me retained to these games for longer. It gnaws at an insecurity inside of me that I need to have reached a certain level of reflected worth. With that, I'm engaging in a set of matches that will disappoint me. When I win, excluding the fact that I just played something that I didn't fundamentally enjoy, there's nothing to enjoy because I haven't reached the goal. What should be the intrinsic goal of playing to win that particular match is offset to an external goal of having to achieve a rank. And while every win contributes to the external goal, there's no payoff until that goal's been met. That numbs the joy that could be obtained intrinsically. For a game that I don't enjoy, that's fine. There wasn't really much that I would have enjoyed to begin with. Extroverting though is when this applies to games that I do enjoy. I might still like what I've played, but it subdues the heights that it could bring, something that I felt a lot in early Tekken 7 and presently feel in Rivals 2. A good time is blocked on the limits of enjoyment when the consequence of success is merely another step to a larger goal. You might think of this as ladder anxiety, but I would argue that this is something different, more along the lines of ladder frustration. Age of Empires is a game that I have ladder anxiety in, without a doubt. I'm apprehensive to play, especially coming off of a large break from the game, because I know that I'm likely to lose, and because loss is an expectation, I'm more likely to quit when I manifest the expected outcome. The intrinsic experience hasn't changed all that much, but the experience prior to the match, The expectation taints my attitude before the match has started. In traditional fighters, for me, the emotion is more core to how it affects what is taken from the match. I'm not apprehensive to play, I'm less interested in the interactions present in the moment and draw less joy from the experience because I'm playing for the external goal. Ladder anxiety taints the experience prior, which often knocks onto your emotions during. Ladder frustration festers in the very core of the events during and after. What's funny to me is that when the vision of how much you gain or lose is obscured by not being able to see your rank in the lobby and being able to turn off the HUD that displays the rank, like in Fightcade, I don't feel this nearly as much. I get to enjoy the benefits of playing a populated ranked system while avoiding the frustration that comes along with being able to see my own rank. It's something that I wish more games would implement as a feature, but none of them do, so that's not to say that Salt doesn't permeate through my bloodstream when I'm not playing ranked. However, since ranked inflates my expectations, which causes my ego to obscure the emotional clarity, it also devalues my view of the opponent. I don't think I've ever played a ranked match, looked at my opponent and thought, oh shit, this guy's cool. Guilty Gear especially is a game that's 99% this guy's cool. If your opponent has a proper grip on the character, they're making lightning fast choices and adaptation, and being able to recognize the value in your opponent is fundamental to enjoying fighting games. If you can only ever see what you did as cool, the experience is going to be lackluster. Since fighting games are very state-oriented, there's a lot of gameplay in which you have little to no choices from an actionable perspective. It's kind of like how... okay, tangent. So people wonder why many people are mad in League of Legends, but I think the answer is pretty obvious. As the game progresses, it's overwhelmed by avatar strength. If you're a level 1 Vayne, you will die to the level 18 Bard who's stacked 6 black cleavers, but like from when they were broken in like Season 3. This creates a lot of dependency on your teammates who are themselves only able to play within the limits of avatar strength. This creates situations in which being on the losing team has you have to play restrictive in order to not lose more, while also having players who are behind on the winning team still remain dependent on their teammates to make choices. League, when you're behind, is a very low choice environment, not only for the entire team that's losing, but also for the individuals who are behind in avatar strength, creating an experience with little individual agency for most of the people playing, and creates an experience that is a net negative in enjoyment. With that said, I would still like to play 2x KO, though I really liked the last alpha. Please add Elise! In fighting games, when you're in a combo, you're also in a low agency environment, but not by the raw statistics, but by the state of the system. You can, and should, still be making intangible choices. What's this guy doing for Oki? Is he going for a reset? Should I be using a resource? But because combos and knockdown put you in inactionable points of play, you need to employ what is effectively empathy to not just kind of find decisions during those times, but joy as well. Recognizing when a combo was hard, if they learned a fucked up setup, and it's cool that they learned it or found it or, you know, stole it. They made an insane read on their end. They're really like tapped in. You could argue that the value of all of this is to get you to focus more, to see the game more for what it is rather than what you build the matchup to be in your head. And maybe that's true. To me, the game's value doesn't come from that though. It's not about being able to play better, it's about more intrinsic value in the entertainment. Win or lose, better or worse, having less in the way of what could cloud that empathy makes the emotional aspect more refined. Since Xrd exists exclusively in player lobbies, finding that joy in a good stomping is much easier. There is, unfortunately, still an obscured rank that does bother me a little bit, but since it's basically impossible to track, and only ever really communicates anything if you've got enough experience to know that it doesn't matter, I find tapping into that empathy much easier to do in this environment. It's that lack of stake that lets each match and each interaction exist purely as they are. That Johnny combo was sick, not a combo that just lost me my funny internet points. When that clarity of the game is being met, there's also another phrase that falls out of my vocabulary that is constantly being said in ranked. I should have won that. We are not playing RPGs here. The bedman KB Nova picks and the bedman you pick are the same character. Your bedman is not dog shit because it's not got access to the trader that will teach you Task B rank 3. Better go on a quest to collect 9 Ravenclaws for Skrunk Bungler. You're all given the same access to tools, so just because the rank says that you're higher doesn't mean that anything should have happened. Now, maybe if you picked up on the patterns and knew the scenario and were still fucking it up, that element of frustration might be valid. We've all dropped a game or two when we had all of the pieces that for some reason we just couldn't put together there and then. But again, this is an element where the ego is getting in the way. Your past achievements mean nothing on the stick, and that's fucking beautiful. Because your achievements mean nothing, everyone is able to beat everyone. When you don't know the rank of your opponent, because it doesn't exist, you have to gauge someone's skill level based on what's happening in the match. When that rank doesn't exist, I find I have both a more enjoyable time and a much easier time gauging what people are good at as this kind of personalized graph. They've got good reactions on anti-airs, but struggle to maintain pressure and have predictable pressure patterns that let me skirt by on defensive play through having them create the opening for me. That's a thought pattern that I made, and maybe it's wrong or maybe it's right, but it's something developed on a personal level that could be worked on, which is far more interesting than... I'm thinking they're about a gold 3. And look, I'm not saying that if ranked was gone, we'd be living in a utopia. I also cried and shit my diaper and threw my controller playing Halo 3 casual matches when I was 22 as well. It's just that with Xrd, the fact that nobody's playing ranked means that the pure entertainment is more present. Issues in the match are developed more from the intrinsic aspects of play, rather than the external validation concerns. If you want to reincorporate that element of the game, you can. You can always enter tournaments like the Xrd Salty EU weekly bracket, but that's also a much healthier way of engaging with goals related to the game and a reason to keep up, over the infinite ranked grind fest. Nobody is playing ranked, and maybe that's a little confusing for new players given that the language of online games now has everything revolve around that type of mode. But so long as people know to search for player lobbies, the fact that nobody is playing ranked, it's fine.